with the initial change,
Yep.
it's just been, I mean, a frustrating year with injuries, not just to Caitlin, but obviously to Caitlin. DB ultimately ends up leaving.
Yep.
And so that, you know, we already talked about how you need time to gel, you need time to build chemistry. So how frustrating has it been that the chemistry has just, it's like start, stop, start, stop.
Yeah, it's definitely been a struggle. But I think just at the start of the season too, like, you know, you have your start of the season meetings and you're talking. And for us, it was about, listen, like, no matter what happens in the season, it's next woman up and you have to be ready. And I feel like obviously struggling with injuries, and then, you know, you sign people and then they leave, and it's like, listen, like, whoever is next, be ready to play, because it doesn't matter. Like, the games still keep coming. Like, you still have to be ready to compete. And that's why I was so happy, like, when we signed Ari.
Aliyah Boston just sat down for an interview with Sue Bird. And yes, her comments about Caitlin Clark definitely caught attention. We're breaking down every bold statement, every bit of praise, and every moment where she urged people to keep their expectations realistic. What was your first reaction when Aliyah spoke about the pressure of playing alongside Caitlin?
And it is. Obviously, you never want people to get injured, but the reality is you have to have that mindset, and it gives other people opportunity. And then you hope ultimately you're all better for it when the injured players come back. But I'm curious, specific to Caitlin being on the floor, off the floor, and I saw you talk on your own podcast about like the spacing and how different it is. But when you're entering a game, like your mental prep, how does it change? Because it's two different systems essentially.
It is. Honestly, like, when C is on the floor, I'm like, listen, be ready to run. Be ready to get out. Be ready because she's looking. She's looking. She wants to play fast. Super early in the offense. And like, we do that too as well here. But I think sometimes too now without her, like, we can get into like a little more half court execution, make the defenses work a little bit harder, first side, second side, third side. And then I think when you have like Kelsey, when Kelsey's playing in transition, get that ball up to her and make her
I've never seen anybody so bouncy.
Like,
Boston's words came across as genuine, not some polished PR script written by a media team. On Sue Bird's podcast, she spoke openly about what it's really been like sharing the court with Caitlin Clark. And let's be real, the raw truth hits way harder than another manufactured headline about everyone being best friends.
So entering year 3 for you, which is this year, as you said, it's a lot of change.
Yes.
You have a coaching change. You have it's a big free agency year for you guys. And really overnight, what that big free agency year was, or big change was expectations change.
Yes.
So you guys went from like this up and coming, where it's like you're getting to know each other, to now it's like, oh, they could win the whole thing.
Yeah.
So what was the experience of essentially becoming like, instead of being the hunter, you're now the hunted?
Yeah, it's crazy, but I feel like it was definitely expected. Like, I think number one, like, just last year, everyone, like, when they see our name on the schedule, even though the year before we didn't win, like, we won 13 games or whatever it was, and it was like, okay, well, but then you added in Caitlin, right? And everybody's like, oh, like, they're gonna be this, and this, and now everybody's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna prove you wrong. Like, hell no, like, that's how it is.
Boston's perspective cuts deep because she's actually living it. Caitlin Clark has been branded the future of women's basketball, ESPN's golden highlight reel, and the ultimate ratings draw. That kind of noise follows you everywhere, whether it's on your phone screen or in a sold-out arena. And Boston sees it clearly. She admitted that Clark brings eyes, attention, and massive expectations to every Fever game. But let's set the record straight. Aliyah Boston isn't some jealous teammate fishing for sympathy. She's a proven all-star, the 2023 Rookie of the Year, and Indiana's cornerstone long before Clark showed up. Still, the moment Caitlin arrived in Indianapolis, the atmosphere flipped. Suddenly, every missed shot was clipped and replayed. Every awkward possession became a talking point. And every single game was analyzed like it was the finals.
Everybody's like, yeah, like, they got, for us, we always think like you have to approach every season with like, we're winning this whole season. So that was our mindset. And I think when you look at expectations, once again, expectations come from everyone outside. Cause like in our circle, we know exactly what we want to do. We also understand that it's a process. We understand that new faces, new coaches, like different style play for people joining us. It's like people need time to figure it out once again. But when you do figure it out, it's going to be scary. And I feel like that's what it was for us, and that was our approach. And we're still like, listen, we are coming here to win this thing. Like, that's what it is, and that's not going to change no matter what.
And that's where Boston's honesty really stands out. On Sue Bird's podcast, she made it clear the pressure doesn't just fall on Clark, it spreads to the entire team. If Clark is framed as the savior, then every setback puts the spotlight on everyone else. When the Fever stumble, fingers get pointed, and players like Boston are left carrying that weight too.
We signed Ari. I felt like that was like amazing for us because obviously we couldn't predict C being out for this long at least. And so it's like having someone in that runs the point well, can call her own number, I think honestly has been like our biggest blessing. Obviously now with Bibbs, like she's coming in, she's able to stretch the floor. It's like, I think no matter what, everything is for a reason, right? And that's kind of our focus is, listen, like whatever happens, but whoever is here in our circle, listen, like we're here to hoop.
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to play. And so I feel like that's just been our approach. Like it hasn't been perfect. There's definitely been injuries here and there, but
she reminded everyone that this was her and Clark's first season playing together. Yet the outside world expected instant perfection. It was as if critics believed Boston should already know Clark's rhythm, timing, and vision without ever spending months building chemistry on the floor. Boston put it plainly, "We weren't given that grace period of like getting to play with someone you've never played with." That one line sums it up. In the NBA, we constantly hear coaches, analysts, and even players stress that chemistry takes time. When LeBron James teamed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, it took nearly a full season before they truly clicked. But in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark, expectations were flipped upside down. Fans acted like if the Fever weren't playoff ready from game one, then Boston and the rest of the team must have been failing. Boston clearly pushed back on that narrative, though she did it with calm composure. She didn't rant or throw blame. She simply explained that the team was still learning, and outsiders weren't giving them space to grow. That level of maturity is telling, especially considering she's only 23.
All over.
She is moving, she's making the right read, and it's like, listen, and she's scoring the ball at a very high level. And so I think, it's a little bit both, like once again, like when she's on the floor, like she's looking to get up, people can be like, listen, I don't need to outlet because I know once we rebound, we're getting it up. But I also think it, once again, it's like puts people on their toes because they're like, whoa, I need to find Kelsey in transition. I need to find Ari now. Like we got to find Sophie and Lexi knocking down threes. Like it's different, but I think everyone is once again finding their own rhythm, and that we just did a great job of like.
The conversation then turned to how her chemistry with Clark has evolved. Boston admitted the early months were tougher than expected. There were passes she wasn't ready for, and plays where she didn't pick up on Clark's intent quickly enough. And of course, social media did its thing, clipping bad possessions, adding sarcastic captions, and spinning it into proof that the Fever couldn't mesh. But here's what stood out. Boston didn't deny those struggles. She explained why they happened. As the season progressed, she began to recognize Clark's rhythm. She started noticing where Caitlin's eyes were pointing, reading when a pass was about to come without a single word. That's how real basketball chemistry is built. Not through instant magic, but through repetition. Boston even gave a sharp example. After enough games with Clark, she doesn't need her to yell out cut or screen. She just reads Caitlin's body language, the way she lifts her head, the position of her feet, and knows the ball is coming. That's when the Fever started to truly look in sync, which makes it almost comical that people expected it to happen overnight. Did fans really think Boston would become Clark's perfect pick-and-roll partner after one practice? Did they expect every lob to drop into her hands like a highlight reel? That's not reality. Chemistry takes time, mistakes, and patience, and Boston's breakdown on Sue Bird's podcast proves she gets that. But she's also had to deal with trolls. On the same show, she admitted people have tweeted at her calling her the worst big I've ever seen. Think about how ridiculous that is. She's a former #1 pick, Rookie of the Year, an all-star, and some guy on Twitter thinks he's qualified to call her trash. Boston explained that she already puts enough pressure on herself, so that kind of garbage just piles on. Still, she's not afraid of accountability. She openly admitted things weren't smooth at first with Clark. But she also made it clear that fans demanding instant perfection simply don't understand how the game works. The best part is, Boston also praised Clark. This wasn't about jealousy. She highlighted Caitlin's passing as elite, calling her a phenomenal playmaker. She said once she locks in on Clark's eyes, she knows exactly where to move. That's genuine respect, showing that Boston isn't dismissing Clark's talent. She's embracing it, while reminding fans to relax with the unfair criticism. What made the interview powerful was the way Boston framed everything. She didn't just talk about Clark as an individual. She tied it back to the entire Fever roster, pointing out that when one player gets superstar hype, the pressure spreads to everyone. And Sue Bird, being the savvy interviewer she is, kept steering the conversation toward Boston's experience with Clark. Boston never dodged. She didn't hide behind cliches like, "We're focused on the next game." Instead, she gave thoughtful, layered answers that showed just how challenging and rewarding this partnership has been.
time. No
what is it about them that they're doing that?
It's just the best sports scene. Like, I don't know any other way to put it, but when it comes to us, when it comes to the Pacers, when it comes to sports in general, they show up and they're loud.
Yeah, no, being there definitely was just like a palpable vibe to like the whole city. I love that the city's kind of on the smaller side, so everything was convenient. You could like get around, but yeah, the fans really showed up.
Boston made it clear that she sees the upside of Clark's presence. The extra attention on the Fever brings more visibility to the entire roster, boosts the league, and helps women's basketball continue to grow. But it also comes with a cost. Mistakes get blown up, and the normal learning curve doesn't get the respect it deserves. That's the double-edged sword of playing alongside a generational star. The key, though, is that Boston never came across as resentful. She sounded driven. Her message was essentially, yes, the attention is heavy, but that's part of the job now. That's what makes her perspective different. Where most players might just toss out some generic compliments about Clark and move on, Boston actually gave it depth.